Berman, thank you so much. We've talked at length about the politics of tragedies like the one there in El Paso or the one here in Dayton, what should be done, who should be blamed, what needs to change. But what do you say to the victims' families? What do you say to the communities who feel their safety is shattered? Tony Miltenberger is the pastor of the Restoration Church. He spoke at a concert to raise money for the victims here in Dayton just a couple days ago. So thank you for swinging by our CNN camera down here. It's a pleasure to meet you. Before we get into, what can people do to help, you are a Dayton boy,
right?
Born and raised. You were saying to me a second ago that your heart breaks with everyone here, and I am sure your phone has been ringing because people look to you for guidance. What are the questions you're getting, and what are you telling people?
Well, the most common question is now what? Or how do we move on? How do we exist in a world where tragedy like this happens? And unfortunately, there's no great answer. And so my number one thing is to find people to talk to, whether that be other pastors or leaders, friends. Isolation is not the answer to dealing with the emotion and the pain from moments like these. So my encouragement to them is to get out and be in the community and understand that we're better together.
As a leader in the faith community, and especially just speaking to people of faith, when people say, I want to help, they don't know how, what do you say?
My number one kind of charge after all of this is we've got to get people involved in intentionally pouring in the next generation. In the church, we call it disciple making, but it's really mentorship. It's really walking alongside someone. One of the things that we talk about in our church comes from Kara Powell, who's a social researcher. She says that there should be 5 adults for every 1 student. And I just imagine a world where all of our students are surrounded by people who love and care for them. And maybe we can prevent someone from slipping into a dark place before it ever happens.
So you're saying so that if people could be surrounded, they're not isolated.
Yeah. Like what would happen if adults in every church community or every part of the community found a student who was on the fringes and brought them back in and just loved them and just cared for them and walked with them and heard their cries? How do we create a structure that promotes that?
How are you helping the victims? Victims' families?
Well, for us, a lot of what I'm doing now is dealing with people who were down here, people who knew the various members, and the key is to talk with them and to be there for them and just have an open door. In Centerville at Stubbs Park on Sunday night, like you mentioned, we were raising funds for those victims' families, and we'll continue to find ways to engage. The truth is, we're in it for the long haul, and right now there's a lot of people doing a lot of things. But the church, hopefully all the churches in the community, will be committed to the long-term kind of healing.
You have kids?
I have 3.
How old are they?
13, 9, and 7.
So how do you explain to your children what happened in their town?
Well, I think whatever, different language for different ages, but the reality is that evil exists in the world. And now we're fortunate that we believe in a God that's bigger than evil. And so we pray. We pray for everyone involved, the first responders, the victims, the shooter's family, and all of those people. We pray for them every night. And we understand that we don't live in a perfect world, but we live in a world that's full of grace, and we serve a God who's full of redemption.
Tony, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Pleasure to meet you and to have you on. And that is it for me here in Dayton on behalf of myself and, of course,